In our lean coffee today, we had a conversation about how to use LinkedIn because it has become extremely noisy. And there is what we're calling contamination. And that contamination is like toxic, it's like radiation. And there's only so much that you can actually stand at any given point in time. And so LinkedIn, when I first started using it, it was almost wonderfully boring. People were there talking about business and business things, and there wasn't a lot of grandstanding. There wasn't a lot of politics, or those types of things. And now there's just so much AI schlock and people talking about politics and people having all of this clickbait that you get in and it's almost impossible to find what you need when you need it and get out. And so you get in and you do kind of like this doom scrolling, but it's also kind of like this robot scrolling where you're just scrolling through schlock after schlock after schlock, trying to find anything that somebody that you actually believe or care about might say. And so you get in there and you kind of say, like, I'm just going to get in here for 5 minutes and put something in. But the next thing you know, you say your 5 minutes and you're up to 40 minutes. And what happens is you get in there and the algorithm is showing you things that are either going to be kind of clickbaity, or maybe you have to look at it a little bit and say, is that real? I can't even tell if this is real. And as you do that, you're wasting your time. You're spending more of your time there. And all the sites want you to do is be there, pay attention to their attention. And so they're just soaking up your attention and you're not getting a lot of value out of it. But then the problem after that is that you're probably annoyed with yourself because you just spent 40 minutes in there and you meant to spend 5 and you do have other things to do. You're also kind of annoyed because who has all this time to put all this AI schlock up there? And then the third thing you're annoyed at is like, this person said this or this person said that, and that really bugged me. So you end up with this cognitive residue that you carry around with you all day. And so again, like in today's subscriber lean coffee, we had a really deep conversation about this, and we went with this kind of metaphor of kind of this Fallout 4 kind of environment where you go in and you're going to be exposed to a certain amount of radiation, and you want to build a suit to help you get through that. So the platform itself is maximizing to take away your time. It's not maximizing for your optimized growth. And so we want to build this hazmat system. And so this hazmat system for us, I didn't do such a great job on building out the whole suit. But you have kind of like this helmet of attention, and you've got an exposure meter, and you've got some alarms and so forth. You've got a respirator and whatnot. And the thing is that you're putting on kind of this suit of armor, this suit of protection to go into this environment that doesn't necessarily have your best interests at heart. And so what we want to do first when we're getting ready to go into a hostile social media environment that is going to suck our attention out of our bodies and not give anything back, is the first thing we need to do is what we're saying here is preload your purpose. I am going into this to talk to my friends, to announce that this thing has happened, to check and see if someone has a job opening, whatever those things are that are legitimate reasons for you to still use the platform. And then you set yourself kind of a goal. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it in this amount of time. And if these things happen, like if I see like too much AI schlock and I just can't get past it, or if I see like too much clickbait or too many people say Agile is dead, then I just pop out. I'm done. Or, your other option can be you get in, you make your post, and then you look at other stuff and then you run those features. But you, hopefully, are getting in and making a post about something that you care about, and you're actually typing the words and all those types of things. So the next thing is kind of your exposure meter, where you're kind of tracking, how long have I been in here? How much exposure have I had to the environment? And then set yourself a thing. So do one bone Pomodoro or these many times a week. And then once you get those, then again, you check out. You can also have, like I said, your schlock alarm, where you're kind of detecting how much AI noise is in here, things like that. Same thing with clickbait. Same thing with what I'm calling lost in space. And this happens to me. Like I get in, I start working, and then the next thing I know, I've been in there for 20 or 25 minutes. I expected to be in there for 5. And I actually don't even notice the passage of time. That's really annoying. So the moment that you're in there and you're like, oh my God, I'm Will Robinson, I'm totally lost in space, and you just hit the eject button and you are out. And in this case, what that means is you close the tab for LinkedIn. Because since LinkedIn is sitting up there and then it pops up and it says 1, 2, 3, that's going to trigger you to go back to LinkedIn again, and then you're sucked right back in again. So don't let other people's visual controls control you in a way that you don't want. The other one we're calling strategic whimsy. And strategic whimsy is basically going in, finding things in there that you like, and actually allowing yourself to participate in things that you really like. So go in and be funny. Go in and find places where people are being funny and reward that, where they're being genuine, and be part of that. But make it strategic. And also be in there like, I'm going to go in there for 25 minutes, but if I'm in there for 15 minutes and I find no whimsy, I'm out. Then the last one is your decontamination ritual, which is like when you're done, get up and leave the desk and walk and kind of walk off LinkedIn. All right. All right. And what might that look like? So you've got kind of like this self-care regimen of before you go into LinkedIn, while you're in LinkedIn, and then after LinkedIn. So, this is very, very much like a system that is useful, but is harmful. And so you want to make sure that you are drinking responsibly. So let's just take it as alcohol or as any other thing that you might imbibe in. It might feel good for a bit and then it doesn't. So you go in and again, you define that specific outcome, the amount of time that you're in there. And before you go in, just take a little break, kind of hang out a little bit and see if you still want to go in. Because lots of times, like I said, like right now, LinkedIn is up and I can click on it because it says 5 and bang, there I am. I'm in LinkedIn, and the next thing I know, I'm buried in looking at all of these things that people have said. And the problem is that what LinkedIn is doing is it's giving you things that you want to hear, and then it's sandwiching them between massive pieces of bread that you don't want to hear. All right. But they want you to, because it takes a long time for you to digest that bread. So in closing, just really quickly, the need here is real. LinkedIn especially has a monopoly on business attention. I'll make that a little bit bigger. And so we need to use it. We need to use LinkedIn, and we can't avoid it. And so since those real needs exist, we need to come up with our own rule sets of how we're going to engage, or they will dictate the terms, and then we all lose. That is your LinkedIn survival guide. Like and subscribe and all those social media things. Thank you guys. And if you like this and you're watching it somewhere else, these things are all on humanework.substack.com.